Hi everyone. First and foremost, again, just like Kim said, I want to welcome everybody to the road trip in your Tesla event. Uh, Hopefully this is informative for everybody. For those of you who are not in the Long Island region, I'm Mike Celentano. I'm the regional organizer for the Long Island region, along with Kim, who has newly been promoted from the key member position to RO. And basically, I've been a 2020 Model Y long range owner since March of 2020. So I was one of the first people to get the Model Y in the state of New York. I believe Rich Hargrave beat me by like a month. So good on him for doing that. Uh, but I've road tripped. My longest road trip to date was New York, or more specifically, Long Island to Florida. I've done Long Island to Connecticut, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, downstate. Mostly staying on the East Coast. Kim is going to be more of our expert today, as she has probably put more miles on her car than anyone I know. And without that, further ado, Kim, everybody.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Manitt. I am a newly appointed regional manager for Long Island. And my actual first road trip was down to Austin, Texas to see my cousin. And this was back in 2018. I had just gotten my 2015 Model S, which was pre-owned, but it only had about 19,000 miles on it. And to date, I have 148,000 miles on my car. I have been to Austin, Texas 3 times. I've been to Minneapolis, Minnesota twice, Boston, Massachusetts, Toronto, Canada. I've been down to Key West. I've been down to Titusville, Florida, probably 12 times. I've been down to Leesburg, Virginia, about 20 times for work. I've gone to Manchester, Tennessee to work on mom's rental property, probably about 40 times in the last year. I've been down to Orlando, Florida, Santa Barbara, California, San Diego, California. I went to the Arches, Bryce Canyon, and Zion on one of my trips. I've gone to the Petrified Forest, the Everglades, Penn State, Pennsylvania twice, Rochester and Utica, New York as well, one for our club holiday party and another one for picking up my rescue dog. And this is now my 7th trip to Seattle that I am currently on. And yeah, this last trip has been really fun for me. And I don't mean that in a really fun way. I was on my way here. I carry a rooftop carrier in my car with a roof rack. And my car was, even though it said I'd get to my destination with 26%, when I get really close to my destination, it would say I'd only have 1 or 2% to get there. And at first I thought it was just trying to recalculate the rooftop box, and found out that I stopped at Liberty Lake, Washington, which is south of Spokane and north of, Seattle. And it was a supercharger at the service center. So I went in and asked service, hey, my car I ran out of charge in Wall, South Dakota, 150 feet from the supercharger. My car never told me to slow down to make it to my destination. And so I actually had to be pulled into the supercharger. And you should all know where to find that tow hook in your frunk, and know that it is a left thread to put it on in the area of the front of the trunk area by the bumper. So you turn it to the left to tighten it, not to the right. Also remember that if you ever have any trouble with your car where it tells you to shut down and pull over, to immediately put it into tow mode. It will stay in tow mode until you put it into driver park. So please don't forget those important things when you're on a road trip and have issues that has your car telling you need to pull over. So I spoke to them. They said, oh, your car didn't get a firmware update. You need to make an appointment. We don't have any texts. So I finished charging there. I was still on my way to Seattle. And so I told them, oh, no problem. I'm going to make an appointment in Seattle, which I did, waiting in the car to finish charging. And I got to Cleellum the last stop to get to my mom's house. I charged up, leave there. I'm 6 miles from Snoqualmie Pass, which is one of the longest, tallest passes in Washington State. And my car says, vehicle may not restart, service required. And I had made an appointment for 4:45 on Friday. This is Thursday at 9 o'clock. So I make it to my mom's house. I unload the whole car. And I thought, well, I'll just plug it in because I was down to 18% charge. So I plug it into my mobile charger. And I got a thing to say my car charging was interrupted in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning. It only had 23%. So I figured, oh, no problem. Come out. I was going to drive it down to service and the car wouldn't start. So I had to call the tow truck. They came and got me. And after 3 days of waiting to hear anything, I found out it was actually my high voltage battery that has died. So originally I was supposed to be stuck in Seattle for 6 to 8 weeks, which wouldn't work because we have our camping trip that we're taking to organize. So they have gotten me a loaner, and then miraculously yesterday they said they found me a brand new battery and I should be back on the road on Monday. So been a really fun drive. Most eventful one I've ever had. But what we're going to do is Mike's going to show you an app that we use to plan our trips. I use it when I'm planning long range trips as well, because it gives you an opportunity to put waypoints in where my car apparently does not. It's the older version. I'm on MCU 1, not MCU 2 like the rest of you. So he can put in a waypoint a couple times. I can't put any waypoints in at all. So I use this app, and Mike will demonstrate how to use a better route planner.
All right, guys, just like Kim said, we use a better route or a better route, depending on how you want to say it. Planner, or ABRP for short. You can use it on your desktop. You can use it on your mobile. In a few moments, I'm going to be showing some videos on how to use it. Okay. So this is the mobile version for a better route planner. When you open the app, you're going to see that you're going to be confronted by a map of the continental United States. It's going to show what car you've selected. So in our example for today, we're going to be using my car, which is again a 2020 Model Y long range all-wheel drive. You also have a pinpoint. You can see this little blue dot represents my current location. And then the Better Route Planner icon on our top left is to get into settings. And then on the bottom, it shows you can input your starting point and your end point. You can add your waypoints. You can add amenities. You can clear. You can hit plans, and so on and so forth. So you may not hear the audio, but it's playing. So just one moment as I get up to the section where I go into settings. There we go. So this is the settings menu, and you can see that I am logged in because it will display my name. It shows a Better Route Planner Premium. The premium plan allows for live weather data, live traffic data, as well as live charging status to be displayed to you. It's $4.99 a month or $44.99 annually. I myself just use the basic version because I'm using it in concert with the infotainment screen at the same time. So I'm getting a lot of that live data from the car itself. So, you can weigh it out. If you have an MC1 like Kim does, it may pay more to do the premium, but if you have MC2 or higher, you're going to have all this options anyway. So advanced settings, which we'll get to in a moment, you can see the car is selected. You can see our departure SOC or state of charge is at 90. When you open the app, it's automatically going to go to quickest arrival and 90%. You can manually edit departure SOC or state of charge by hitting the gray box and then just going on your number pad and changing it to 100. the one cool thing with a better route planner is you get to choose your charging stops. So if you're like me, where I kind of want to get to point A to point B in the quickest, most reasonable fashion, I go quickest arrival. If you want to try and do endurance testing of your Tesla, you can do few but long. And if you want to do more of a leisurely, don't really matter when you're going to get there, and you just want to tour the states, you go short but many. So in the example that we're going to be providing today of the classic East Coast, New York to Orlando or New York to Disney, the quickest arrival in terms of stops is going to be around 8 or 9 stops. For short but many, it's going to be at a minimum of 10 to a maximum of 12 or more. And then a few but long is going to be 6 to a max of 7 in terms of stops. Our charge cards, now these are for your third party chargers like EVgo, Green Lots, Shell Recharge, and all those third parties. Instead of fumbling through another app to get to your payment information, you can just add the card onto a better route planner and just pay it that way. So now we're in advanced settings. So advanced settings allows even more control than just the base version. This is still, again, the basic plan. It just gives you a little bit more options. For one, it gives you automatic settings, which is part of the premium plan, but you also can change your chargers and network preferences. So if you want to just say, let's just use superchargers forever and not do any of the level 2 guys or CCS or anything like that, you can go into that through the chargers and networks portion. For your battery, you can say, I don't want to go to a charger with anything less than 20%. You can go in to battery and change your destination arrival SOC or your charger SOC. You can also change your battery. So we as Tesla owners know that our batteries are going to degrade at a rate of about 1 to under 1% per year. So a better route planner defaults it to 5%. You can always change that again by editing it in the gray box. There's also a few other options like speed and vehicle, as well as road conditions. These again are extra things that you can put in so that as it creates your route for you, it takes all these things into account and then allows you a more of a real-time estimate for your route. You can see here, this is the routing menu. For some odd reason, it just stopped playing it for a second. So this is what your route will look like when you added everything in. It's going to list your total distances as well as the total time. It's also going to show you all your chargers. It's going to list what time of your arrival, time of departure, and then what you can also do is you can get information based on the chargers. And then from there, you can get some more information like that. I'm actually now going to show you our secondary video, unless there's some questions that anybody has right now. Kim, do we have any questions before we start the next video?
Right now I'm just asking or answering a question about the navigation system on the Tesla and whether or not it considers road conditions and speed limits when telling you how much charge you'll have left to your destination. And my actual answer to Gladys was that not always. My MCU did not know about 2 road closures on my last trip, one of which I was supposed to make it to the supercharger with 8%. And by the time the detour took me all the way out, it said I get there with -3%. And I had to find a convenience store and plug in.
Yeah, sometimes with the navigation, if you're not on for the Teslas at least, if you don't have a constant Wi-Fi connection, so it allows for the map to continuously receive data, it could lead to some lapses where it won't tell you about certain road conditions. Whereas a better route planner will use, your own phone's Wi-Fi, or you can use your phone as mobile Wi-Fi, and then that way it can collect that correct data. I think I see another hand raised.
Two things.
Go ahead.
When I've taken trips in the Tesla, there's always been a problem in that it does your whole route to where you're going, but not round trip. Now it's able to do round trip, although I cannot figure out how, because your starting and ending place is the same place, and it just doesn't seem to compute when you do that. But I think the route planner that you're talking about has a round trip function, right? Because you need, if you're going to a certain location, you need to have enough juice so you can get, as you're heading back, you can get to the next charger. But could you comment on that?
Yeah, so I know with the most recent update, you can do round trips. On the navigation, a better route planner could do that as well. And I think it's done as since its inception. For me, I always do for my road trips. Once I reach my destination, I just reroute it as going back, and then I just save it as from the plan that I had stored saved before. And then same thing with the navigation system. I just, once I reach my route, done, and then I redo it. With the better route planner, for our example, it's going to just show you the one way. I didn't put it as the round trip function, just so that way people can understand how the routing works, and then that way, and it will be displayed in the next video. But in terms of just overall the differences between Tesla navigation versus a better route planner, it will show you round trips. It will show you the prices that you're going to be paying at the chargers. It's also going to show you the total cost per the charger. Whereas Tesla, it doesn't show you how much it costed you until you're done charging. So even if you plan it in a road trip style, you're not going to know itemized how much I'm going to pay in Arlington versus how much I'm paying for in whatever charger in Georgia, Brunswick. It's not going to show you those differences, whereas a better route planner will. And I actually like the desktop version more because it does show the table version of that. With the mobile, you have to go in to every individual charger and then write down what each individual charger is, but it gives you the brass total of all of it when you're routing.
Now, okay. Are you able to modify without any difficulty let's say you're on your route and you decide, you know what, I want to add this little go off my planned route. Do you have to completely plan your route at that point, or
no?
You just throw something else in?
So I actually when I went down to Florida the first time, I'm actually going to be going down in 8 months to go on seeing if I can go from New York to Florida in 6 stops or less. So wish me luck on that one. But yeah, as I was driving, a better route planner rerouted me 2 or 3 times because I went off of the route. I also had another driver who wasn't familiar with driving on the interstate, so they accidentally got off the interstate and went onto a local road. So it rerouted, showed us how to get there, as well as the Tesla navigation did as well. So it does reroute when you veer off. You can always add waypoints in between. Now, for me, using the Tesla navigation in concert, the Tesla is still going to just go do the overall trip, where a better route planner will take that addition into consideration. And then if it has to reroute, it will. If it's something that's on the way, like like if you want to go to like a tourist spot, or if, hey, next charger has food, because I looked on a Better Route Planner and I saw there was like a Sheetz or a Wawa or a Zaxby's or a Royal Farms, it will already show you that information when you go onto the charger and look at that information, which we will see in the second video as well.
Mike,
Yes.
Paul had a question. He does a better route planner reroute you if there is an accident or delays due to construction along the route?
Yes, it will. It also will show you if a route is not hazardous, but hazardous to the battery. I actually had it happen to me when I was going through a different plan I have for going down to Texas later on in the year, where it showed I'd be driving for 4 or more hours from one point to a charger, and I could not go more than 65 miles an hour if I chose that particular route. Whereas alternates would have had me stop maybe an hour and just to charge a little bit more.
And Asa had great advice saying always use both a better route planner and
Always,
Tesla Nava.
always use them together. Always.
Yeah.
Don't take one over the other. Because if you think about it, I mean, you'll see it in our example. A better route planner usually uses, depending on the device, it's going to use Apple Maps, whereas the Tesla navigation, I believe, uses Google Maps. So there's always going to be discrepancies in any navigational system. So using both at the same time, you can figure out those discrepancies fairly quickly. Just in our previous version, we're going to be using the example of New York to Florida, the classic East Coast road trip. We're logged into a betterrouteplanner.com, and our two differences that we can spot is, at first you can notice that our top right, where Azula and our pinpoint should be, is now going to be on our bottom right, and then our Better Route Planner logo to go into the settings menu has been replaced by these three lines. And just like in our previous example, we're going to be using the Zula at 100% charge, and we're going to go for the quickest route possible. As we route, you'll notice that once our route has been generated, this wheel icon is going to start slowly stop spinning, and then our route will be generated. So you can see it stopped spinning. Here's our route. Because we're on a bigger screen, you can now see our alternate routes in gray. Just like in our mobile version, to get information about the charger, you simply tap on the gray box. That charger is then highlighted in white. To get information about amenities nearby, you will hit the logo of the charger. So since we're using the Tesla supercharger network, we are going to tap on the Tesla icon. Same thing. This hyperlink will send us to tesla.com/superchargers location, gives us our address, and then shows us our nearby amenities. So food, drink, hotel, motel, Holiday Inn, as well as shopping. And just like in the mobile version, when we look at other options nearby, whatever amenity we're looking at, that icon will move to that new place, as well as it shows the distance from the charger, phone number, website. Now, what makes the desktop version a little bit different is you notice this new symbol here. This is an itemized table of our entire route. So you'll see that we have our location in New York, our 3 chargers, our midway stopping point, 4 chargers, and then our final destination, and then the total cost as well as all relative information is going to be on the bottom in bold. What's cool about this table is it shows our arrival state of charges, our departure state of charges, the cost, charge duration, distance, drive duration, arrivals, and departures.
So we are going to be departing at 11:05, which is the current time right now, at 100%, driving a distance of 227 miles for 3 hours and 51 minutes to get to Baltimore, which we will arrive at 13% battery. We're arriving at almost 3 in the morning, charging for 22 minutes, which will get us to 75%. It will cost us $12. And then we will leave at 3:18 to then drive 167 miles or 2 hours and 48 minutes to our next stop, which will be in Virginia, and all that information. Just like in the mobile version, we can always choose to not go to a certain charger by hitting the X button and avoiding that charger.
Why don't you explain what you bring onto a road trip, and then I'll explain the extensive list of things I bring onto a road trip.
Okay, so Basic Sam is what they call me. The very few things I do bring, it really, and honestly, it really does depend on the road trip. If it's New York to Florida, it's going to be my Evanex front cooler with some ice packs in there, as well as a few frozen bottles of water, and then whatever else I need to have to keep cool is in there. I have a first aid kit, as well as space blanket and other blankets and pillows in case, God forbid, I can't find a hotel. But normally when I plan out a longer road trip, I always look for a hotel that has charging available, as well as I know from my previous road trip into Florida, I know there's a couple of supercharger locations where I'm literally in the back of a hotel, whether it be Hilton, Comfort Inn, whatever. I know there's a charger nearby. So I always look for chargers nearby. If it's a level 2, fantastic. I can sleep, let it charge. And at most level 2 chargers, especially if it's nearby a hotel, it's usually free for guests. I know for my home resort in Florida, if you happen to be staying on property, their EV chargers are free for owners and the guest of owners. If you are just a member of public, you are going to be charged whatever the going rate for the kilowatt hour is in Central Florida. And they only allow you there for 4 hours at that particular one. And I believe that's a Greenlots charger, which is, I believe, now changed hands to be Shell Recharge if you're in Central Florida. Other than that, a good road trip playlist, and that's about it for me. Also the pucks. I do carry the pucks. I just don't carry the wheel charger kit. I don't have that.
Okay.
I am getting that, and then I eventually will be adding on, but I didn't bring it for this trip.
So, unlike Mike, I bring everything, and this time I actually did not bring my kitchen sink, but I actually do have a collapsible camping sink that I will carry with me sometimes. I also have a Porta Potty that I carry with me that has a little tent and a little seat and everything, because I have been in the middle of Montana with all the restrooms closed and nothing in sight for a ramp anywhere. So, sometimes you need to have those necessities. I do carry with me, and I have a lot of stuff, but I can grab these here. I have emergency puck lights that are battery operated so that, I make sure cars don't run me over. I do carry with me my Tesla compressor, which has its wheel slime in there that you can use, and also to blow up your tire. But I also carry with me a tire plug kit as well. And then I also carry my first aid kit, which is a little bit more extensive because I have 4 boys. I even have sutures in there. I do have my pucks for jacking up the car. And I carry a socket set from Craftsman, which I've taken apart my car a few times. I've also carry a screwdriver set from Craftsman where the screwdrivers actually are housed in the handle here. A pair of pliers, two sets of gloves to wear while working on the car. I have a pick set, and you're gonna ask me, why does she have a pick set? The reason why I have a pick set, and I'll show you what I'm looking at, is because sometimes it looks like that. And the reason why I have this is sometimes the supercharger pins break off into your car and then you're not able to charge anymore. So I use the pick set to get the supercharger pins out. I also have a trim tool set removal in here, as long as a socket set, a smaller socket set, because and another set of paddle gears for my doors, because I've had the paddle gears go on the middle of a road trip and I've had to take apart the car and replace my paddle gears. I have a utility knife, obviously, but also has a can opener on it. And then I have a roll of paper towels. I have 25 foot of rope. I have bungees. When I said I brought everything but the kitchen sink this time, I really meant it. I even have a lighter just in case, you know, I get stranded. I have my ChargePoint adapter as well. I have an Eddie Bauer blanket. I have a two-person hammock. It's right here. I have a foldable little tiny chair. I have a foldable, I had knee replacement surgery, so now I have a foldable cane. And a roll of toilet paper. And then I have another blanket. I have a car color repair kit for my car. And laundry detergent. And another flashlight. I have several flashlights in my car. So I literally, and I also carry with me, which is out in my mom's garage right now because it's plugged in. I have a portable refrigerator, which is from Igloo, that I use to keep everything nice and cold, because I carry insulin with me and other medication that has to stay cold all the time. And, you know, literally I have it actually, all my stuff in an Evanex trunk organizer, which is in front of me that you can't see right now, but that's where I carry all this stuff in, and it all goes in my under trunk. So, and I believe Asa has a question.
Oh, before Asa's question, Kim reminded me of a few things. Kim slowly, I think, convinced every one of us that she is a jewel thief. Because why she has bungee cords, I have no idea. Next thing she will say she has a Spelunkin set. But I also do have, I always make sure I have my mobile connector on me. I also have the J series adapter. And then I have two other adapters. I have the RV adapter in case I can't find a charger nearby and I can go to a RV site. So I have the TTS 30.
No, it's a TT30.
TT30. And then I have the regular NEMA 1430. So I have both in case I can find a bigger outlet to plug it in. I don't have the 1450 yet. That's been unavailable on the website for a little bit, so I'm going to be getting that one next. And then there's a few other little knickknacks I have.
We also we have a discount for 7% off under AV adapters that also has the 1450 on there available right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the bundle set is sold out.
I love this question for John before we go any further. Yes, I do have a heavy duty extension cord that's a 10 gauge that I carry in my trunk as well, that I've had to use.
And then Asa, I believe, also had a question because his hand was raised.
Yes.
So one of the things I have found most important in my travels in a Tesla, I wear an Apple Watch, and there's an app called Phone Buddy. Now you charge your phone in the car. I don't know if anyone else has done what I do, where you get out of the car and forget your phone. So Phone Buddy is a thing that links your Apple Watch to the phone. And if you get out of Bluetooth range of the phone, a siren starts to go off on your watch. And I would say there's been 20 times I've left my phone in the car. And in doing so, anybody else could get in the car and just drive off with it. So of all the things I would carry in my travel, one that I would carry would be that app. Again, if you have an Apple Watch, if you don't have an Apple Watch, then I don't know what your other options are. But you know, especially if you have the newer models where the wireless charger is underneath the dash, it's very easy for you to just forget the phone. So this is one way of protecting yourself and making sure you don't leave it in the car.
If you have the Tesla Ring, it also does that. I know the other RO for Long Island, Steve D'Souza, has the Tesla Ring, and he kind of uses that all the time. I myself have left my phone in my car a bunch of times. Luckily, there was somebody in the car already, so I didn't have to worry about that too much. And also, I think most Tesla owners would find this funny, but if somebody did try to take my car, they'd have to figure out how to put it into drive first.
So I actually had I was at a charger stop. I left my door slightly open. I was getting something out of the frunk and closed the frunk. I come over to the car, and the car door had just like latched a little bit. My key is sitting right there in the middle console, and my car wasn't recognizing it. And my phone was on my phone charger on the holder, and it wouldn't open. And it was at a Winn-Dixie. I went over to the store because my purse and everything was in the car. And one of the wonderful cashiers let me borrow her phone. I called Tesla, and they asked me about 50,000 questions. And then they unlocked my door, and I had to run out there to do that. Two other things I forgot to mention that I carry on my trip. I have a little tiny squishy micro bead pillow. I use it to support my arm by the door, just because I've had rotator cuff surgery, and it makes it easier, especially on long trips. I also have a weight on my wheel because I was getting tired of the car bitching at me, even though I had both hands on the wheel all the time. And one of the other things that I have is called a Manta sleep mask, and it blocks out all the sunlight, so I can sleep with the bright light right now and I wouldn't see a thing, which is really nice, especially if some of the places you go to in the middle of the night and they have the parking lot light shining right in your eyes and you can't sleep. This is the best thing you can ever get. It's called a Manta, M-A-N-T-A sleep mask, and it's really great.
Judy, I just saw popped up. She had a question. So Judy has never charged her Tesla other than at home, and asked us about to explain the levels of charging. I think me and Kim can kind of split this. So levels of charging, you have DC, which is direct connection. It's what we consider supercharging or fast charging. So in terms of road tripping, you would be using the Tesla supercharger network 9 times out of 10. And with that, that's really only split into V2 and V3 in terms of the chargers. V2 are going to be your 150 kilowatt. So max amount of kilowatts you can receive into the battery would be 150. And then you have a V3, which are the newer ones, which is 250 kilowatts. Most of the chargers around 95, if you're going from New York to Florida, is going to be a V3. That's where all the new constructions are going. That's what it's going to be. If you're in Long Island, if you go to Plainview, that's a V2. If you go to like Copiague, Garden City, Coral Place, that's going to be a V3. And then I guess I'll let Kim explain level 2.
Well, I also wanted to add to the Tesla superchargers, and actually in a few places, Mike, that I've come across, I've actually had a 120 kilowatt chargers as well. but the 120 and the 150s, you'll look at the numbering system and it'll be 1A, 1B, or 2A, 2B. And the 250 kilowatt charger, so when you have a 150 kilowatt charger like that, you want to, if you can, leave a space and go to the 3s or the 2s. If someone's a number 1, just leave a space between your cars so that you're not splitting a charge, because whoever needs it most will get most of the juice, and you could be almost done and now have to sit there for 20 more minutes. Now the 250 kilowatt ones, the numbering scheme will be 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 2A, or 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D. Those do not split a charge, so you can slip in next to anybody in the whole lot and you're not splitting a charge. The level 2 chargers, if you're using the Tesla charger at home, it's called the destination charger in most cases. If you're using a third-party charger with your J1772, those are going to charge anywhere from 8 to 29 kilowatts per hour. So it's a much slower charge. So it's going to take you anywhere from 5 to 8 hours to charge up. And then Mike, you want to explain the trickle charge?
Okay, trickle charge. Last resort is what I call it. That is a 120 volt. It comes with your mobile connector. It's basically any household outlet. It usually, depending on the wiring of the house, you will get maximum 5 kilowatts. It will take 24 plus hours, and you can figure out how to hook up solar to your car, or do some puzzles maybe. That's the last resort. Trickle charges are, if you had no other options, you could do that. If you needed like maybe 5 or 10 miles to get to your nearest supercharger or DC fast charger, you can do that. It's going to take you probably 10 hours to do it, but it is an option. You do have it with your mobile connector. It comes with it. I highly recommend getting the bundle for the mobile connector, so that way you have the different outlets that you can use if somebody is generous enough, or even if you can go to like a commercial laundromat and see if you can borrow a 1450 outlet and plug it in that way. But yeah, Bill, I see, has his hand raised. Bill, you have a question. Let me
yes, I'd like you to go back to this thing about the pin that keeps you from charging if it breaks off. Where is this pin?
So if you look in your supercharger port and it looks different than the other one, then a pin is broken off from the supercharger into your port. And when you try to put in another supercharger into it, or another adapter, it stops. It won't let you go in. So you'll see that it looks a little bit different. It looks like a regular, if I can take this pin apart, it'll be about the size of it, about this size of a pen tip, and it'll be stuck inside, and you'll see it, and you'll just have to take a pick-like device and pull it out.
If you ever go to a supercharger, if you take the handle off, you can see the pins in the actual charger. So it does happen occasionally. The pin, as it's going in, if it's being forced in too hard, it could break off and stay lodged in your car, or in reverse.
It stays lodged in your car. You can remove it, and then you could use another charger, right?
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
And that's the reason why I have my pick set, is so that I can pull that pin.
Yeah, and a supercharger, if it has a broken pin in it, it potentially could still deliver a charge. It just might not be the maximum charger it could do in its operation, or it would actually show you when you're charging instead of it flashing green, it will flash red showing, and then you'll have an error code that pops up, and then that will tell you to get to another charger or just go to a different stall.
I've owned 5 Teslas since 2012. And I just wanted to say that I've been told by all the technicians over the years, you always want to park closest to the source, like in the number 1 spot.
So I
So-
also have another app on my phone that's called Superchargers, where people can leave information, and sometimes it'll say, hey, charger A and B is broken. My fastest charger is on 3B out of that, whatever charger in that area. So I don't think it's necessarily always true, because I have found that a lot of times when I go into an A slot, I end up getting upset because it is charging really slow, and I'll unplug and I'll go into another outlet at like B2 or 3, and it'll charge actually far faster than the A or the 1A.
I will
Yeah,
also like. Oh, sorry,
Okay, go ahead.
No, ladies first.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say to anybody who goes to a supercharger and has any problems with it, you guys can email us at info@tocnys.org. Just because we have a direct line to Tesla and get these superchargers fixed. I know Plainview has a couple chargers that were broken fairly recently. Those are starting to get replaced. I know that they're going to be putting in eventually another set of chargers in Plainview, hopefully soon. That's on the roadmap eventually. But yeah, it's just a way for us to, allow members to get into contact with us, and then we're able to talk to Tesla and let them know this is what the problems we're seeing on the ground. But yeah, and I'm sorry, you can continue.
So Jamie has a question.
Well, I know Cathis was still talking, so I didn't know if
Yeah,
she had another question
I
about
wasn't done.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
that. Yeah, go ahead.
So all else fails, you don't have an app or don't have email, whatever. I would park closest to the source. That's my experience. Another thing is on trips, you're using the superchargers, because I've driven from Florida to Massachusetts. I would plot to go as far as you can to 50% of battery life and then stop. Don't go, let it run down. You don't want that to cause a predicament. Do you know what I mean by that? And then be on your way. So I would go as far as 50%, give or take. And that's when to top up.
So it's actually faster for you to charge from 0 to 65 than it is for you to charge from 65 to 90. So when I do my route stream, the app actually, because of some of the areas I have been to, I have had to get to a supercharger with only 1%, and then especially in New Mexico. And that's from the last charger to the next available charger was so far away that causes that issue where you get down to 1%. It is good. If they want you to recalibrate your battery at Tesla, they will have you run it down to 0 and then charge all the way up to 100, and then run it back down to 0 and charge it up 100 again, and then level out down to get down to 20 and then start recharging to 80.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
also,
funny you did that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I've been to Florida, and you're right. You don't want to charge on the high end. You want to charge on the low end.
yeah, and also with the Better Route Planner, and also and using that in concert with your own Tesla with the inbuilt navigation systems, it's never gonna say you're gonna drive down to 5% and then you're gonna stay at a charger for 35 plus minutes to charge back up to 100. It's just not gonna do that. It's gonna let you get down to where it knows it's safe to go, and then charge at a relatively safe speed so it doesn't damage the battery, because it's going to precondition the battery once you get close to the charger, and then it will tell you when to stop, because it will come up on screen saying either charging has stopped or maximum charge has been reached for you to continue your trip. I believe is the actual wordage.
Actually, it says enough charge to make it to your.
To make it to your next destination. That's right. And so that way you're not overgoing. You could, if you wanted to, keep going for an extra minute or two if you wanted to, just to get that extra like mile or two. But
sometimes I do add a buffer depending on where I'm at. You know, I'll add between 10 and 20% to my charge, because I know that the next charge is, you know, going from Bozeman to Butte, Montana, there used to be nothing in between. Now they have big timber. But to take that trip, no matter how much, you know, fully charged from one end to get to the other end, luckily you start going downhill and you get your regenerative back. Otherwise you'd be there with a zero.
Jamie?
Jamie.
Okay, so I have two questions. The first is talking about removing the pin. If you're sticking your fingers in there where the plug goes, is there a chance of electrical shock?
Well, first of all, I don't put my hand in it. My pick set, I just had it here. It has a plastic handle on it, so it makes it easier to.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
So you won't get
touch.
You don't get electrocuted. As far as I know, I've had to do it 3 times. I've never been electrocuted. I mean, if you really want to be on the safe side, you can always pull the emergency loop that's underneath your frunk. That, you know, kills all power to the main battery while you can work on the car. I haven't, but you know, also the little bit of rubber that, you know, I made sure this is a rubberized one, so I wouldn't get electrocuted as long as I'm not touching the metal.
Right, or I guess wearing rubber gloves would be a good idea too.
Yes, actually, my gloves that I have, where did I put them? They all have rubber on them. So they all have rubber on the fingers. So they're all rubber gloves as well.
Okay. The other question I had, which I put in the chat, but I guess you missed it. I wanted to know, if you don't pay the monthly charge for data to Tesla, does your nav still have live traffic and weather and all that stuff, or are you missing that if you're not paying the monthly charge?
If you don't pay the monthly charge, you miss the live data.
You lose it. You lose that. You also lose premium auto. So I believe then you're stuck on AM, FM, and Bluetooth. And then I forgot the other thing you lose. But those are the 2 main things you'll lose.
Okay, but if
you lose premium audio and then real-time traffic data.
If you're home and you're on Wi-Fi, you're connected to your Wi-Fi, and you plan out a trip, will it then have the traffic data at least at that moment? And then as you're driving, you lose it? No?
You lose the whole thing.
Yep.
Okay.
I see Chuck has a question.
I know Bill actually had his hand raised before I saw Chuck's hand raised. So Bill, you're next.
Sorry, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
No problem, Bill.
Thanks for explaining the plug thing. I understand that now. I think just skip it. I didn't have anything that's that important. We'll go on without it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Chuck.
Chuck, yep.
Yeah, so can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. I actually wanted to address the plug thing. My home charger, I've got a wall charger, and I had one of those pins break off, and I didn't notice it because I was always using the same charger handle, and it always fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody mind if I share a picture? Because I took a picture of the handle.
Sure,
and it'll show the pin. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay.
That's
on the right, you can see the plastic pin in the middle, and then it's gone on the left.
Right.
So it just snapped off at the bottom, and it's about, an inch, maybe 1.5 inches long. And if you look into the charging port on the car, you can see it, but man, I really had to look close to see it. But
Yeah.
to answer Jamie's question about whether or not you're going to get a shock, as far as I know, we can't use our Tesla to charge another Tesla.
Right.
So that port is basically, it's the equivalent of the male end of an extension cord. So that's not live. There's no electricity flowing there until you plug it into an outlet. So the charging handle is the female, that's the outlet that would normally be in your wall. So yeah, you can stick your hand in your Tesla because that's like the male end of the plug. There's no charge, there's no voltage.
And
it's
Chuck, I
perfectly
want to say
safe.
thank you for bringing the picture up.
Yeah.
So this is the home charger, so you know it's plastic. For
Yeah.
the superchargers, they're going to be, I believe, brass is like the
Oh,
color.
really?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're metal.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it is possible for those chargers, like instead of it getting stuck, they'll bend when somebody forces them out because they forget to touch the button to hit the release. So I've seen bent ones, broken ones.
Wow.
Yeah, I've actually gotten lucky a couple times, and I've met the technicians that work on the superchargers. So if anybody has any ones they know offhand, if I see them again, I'll let them know exactly which ones. You just have to tell me the number. Like if it's a V2, you have to tell me if it's 1A or 1B, and if it's broken or it's just bent. If it's bent, they can fix it relatively quickly. If it's broken, it's just replacing the
head.
broken piece and touching the handle back up.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for the picture.
Is there any other questions?
Wait, I just saw.
Bill has his hand
Yeah,
raised.
I'll try again. Is there any list of the different clubs in different areas so that if you're traveling, you can get in touch with other Tesla clubs?
So the way I found it is if you go to tesla.com and you go to the old Tesla forums in the app or on the computer, you'll look for clubs and it'll list all the affiliated clubs.
Okay.
Since I go to Virginia a lot for work to Leesburg, on Facebook, I joined the Northern Virginia Tesla Owners Club. I just explained to them, hey, you know, I travel down here a lot, and they let me into the Facebook. So I actually got to meet up with a bunch of them when I went to the Igloo Rodeo in Austin in April. So we had a good
Great.
time. So yeah, you know, there's several clubs online too. There's the Tesla Owners Club, Model S Club, you know, so you can look at them at
Model Y
Facebook.
Club.
Yeah, on Facebook. So you might want to join one of those clubs. So say, hey, you know, like one of the I belong to Tesla Divas for the women who are out there. So I posted about my poor car being towed out of my mother's backyard that has a very narrow driveway. And one of them was like, hey, you should go over to this place in Pole City and hang out and stuff like that. So
There's
yeah,
also
a
some
great
states that are
community.
kind of weird where they'll go regional instead. So like Florida, they have a Central Florida Tesla Owners Club, and then they have a Southern Tesla Owners Club. So
Okay,
if you're going
thanks.
to like Orlando, you'll talk to Central Owners Club.
And you can talk to Carson.
And Carson, yeah, Carson, who for some of you who don't know, Carson was the RO for Long Island. He did the famous video of how to live in your Tesla, which is on the club's YouTube channel, which this video will be, an edited version of this video will be probably put on in a few days, as well as a few other videos that were in the works. So Carson is actually, I believe, like an RO over there now too. So, yeah.
And Asa, yeah, that could be another session where we can talk over what add-ons to add onto our cars and what's good and what's bad, and what's just cheap crap. But we'll do that in another video.
Yeah.
I think, did we have one more person ask a question here? I just want to make sure we get to everybody. Oh, there was one that is any idea when when a Better Route Planner update vehicles to include the 2022 Model X? I do not, Mike.
What's funny is the last update I saw didn't include the 2022, but somehow it included the Cybertruck, which that's just funny. I would say just if you're on, just go onto your app store, refresh it and see if there's a newer version. I would say every couple of weeks check it. Or if you are on, I believe, Twitter or Facebook, I think a Better Route Planner has a group page where you can ask the admins about updates, and they usually post fairly frequently about any updates coming down.
So I just wanted to quickly.
Dan also had a question too, I just saw.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I have actually ran out of cell service on a trip going through New Mexico. There was no cell service, no houses, towns, anywhere for miles that you looked. And it was hot. And in April, I think it was like 85 degrees out that day. And my car said, slow down to 65 to make it to supercharger. I slowed down to 64. And it says, slow down to 50. And I got to 0% a mile from the charger and pulled in and was able to charge. But yeah, I didn't get any cell service until I actually got to the supercharger, and there was nothing out there. But the car's nav will still know where you're going. It's just, not.
Oh, that's another thing I also forgot to say. I bring a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot with me. Every time I'm in my car, I have it. If you have Verizon, I think it's the M1000. What's cool with this one? Huh?
Is your
Yeah.
satellite? Because
Mhm.
I have been in the middle of Montana and, like I said, New Mexico with no cell service at all.
Yeah, I have the satellite version, and I get to pick. It's cool. It has like a primary, which allows up to 16 people to connect. So I always connect my phone, my girlfriend Taylor's phone, and then my car. And then if I have anybody who I don't like in the back seat, I give them the secondary, which gives them 2.5 gigahertz, while I get 5 gigahertz and above. So
what I wanted to explain is there's a few apps that I carry with me. Some are for charging stations and some are for hotels. I do tend to get all the charging station, the PlugShare, the ChargePoint, ChargeHub EV, EV Connect, Alt Fuel, Superchargers, ElectrifyAmerica, Flow, which is new in the city. They're doing street parking with Flow chargers. Volta is at like our local mall, has them for free for a couple hours. I use another app that's called Stay in Charge. Then I also use one that looks like a supercharger, and it's called Superchargers, and it's great because people put in the comments like, hey, the restroom's over here, or food is over there, great places to eat. I do use iEXIT, which tells me where the restrooms are on the road in case there is a need. I also have the Dyrt, which is for camping, also for Park for Night, also EV Energy, and Tesla. So I carry quite a bit of apps with me as well, so I can always find something that I need to. And EV Hotels is another one as well.
Yeah.
And it lists hotels in areas that have level 2 chargers.
Dan asked, can you use a Better Route Planner on the main screen? Currently, not right now, not yet. I don't know when they'll add it, just because it's basically the same thing as the navigational system. So I don't know if Tesla would ever do 2 competing navigational systems against each other. But like what I said I do for myself personally is I just use both at the same time. I'll just have it on my phone connected to my Wi-Fi and have the car connected to the Wi-Fi and just let them both go at the same time.
When you get contradictory suggestions from the planning app, the trip app, and the Tesla app, which do you generally follow?
It depends on the situation for me. It
Actually,
really
same for
does.
me too.
Yeah, it depends. If it's in a place I know where my car can, obviously, you as an owner, you as the driver, you know what your car can do. Hence why, like, when I do a lot of my little driving excursions, I try to see how far I can push my car. But I usually try to veer towards the middle. If it's saying I'm going to reach my destination with 65 while the other one says I'm reaching my destination with 50, I just do the inverse and say I'm going to probably show up there with like 57, 58%, and I'll just plan accordingly. In the advanced settings of the Better Route Planner, I could always change a few things around. In the drive-in section, I can add like a guesstimate of how much more weight I'm putting onto my car with all the stuff I'm bringing in terms of the cooler's weight, all the extra stuff I'm bringing, in terms of luggage and clothes and stuff like that, to see if that's a different result to my previous one. I can always change the charging aspects and say I don't want to go to reach my destination with 10% or less. So I could change to say I want 30 or more, and that can alternate the routes again on me. And then I know for as far as the Tesla's navigation, it's usually going to put it at 10% as well. So it's just playing around with stuff and figuring out from there.
If I could say, you guys have been fantastic, and I really appreciate it. It's been very, very informative.
Thank you. Links will be put, Kim, I think we're just going to put them in when we do the YouTube version of this video, correct?
Right. We'll
links
have
in
all
that?
the links. Yeah, we'll have the links in that. I just put in the apps that I use for finding hotels. I was asked which ones I use, so I put those on there.
So,
Can
like
you
I
give
said,
me your
go ahead,
purchases?
sorry, Kim.
Okay. Yeah, so I will actually put the links up. I don't have them right now for the picks that I use. Also for the refrigerator that I actually use in my car. For the Evanex underfront organizer that I use. But most of the stuff I got on Amazon, but I will definitely give you an idea of everything I put on there. The links will be on the YouTube version after we get everything set up.
I'll also say that anybody who is looking at the front cooler, Evanex is actually doing a sale right now. Usually it's like $69+ with tax. They're selling it right now for, I believe, $44, $45 plus tax. So, and I believe we have a discount code on the website for like 10 or 15% off your purchase if you put in code, I believe, like TOCNYS. So if you're a member, definitely take a look at our sponsors to see if there's any discounts. I don't know if we get discounts for Amazon. I doubt it.
We do get a discount for EV adapters. We get 7% off site-wide, and the code is TOCNY. They dropped the S on us, but you get 7% off those. You can get the J1772, you can get the 110, you can get the 1450, and you can get the TT30. And there's one other NEMA plug that's for the dryers, which is a good idea. If you go to your friend's house and you can plug into their dryer plug, then you're basically getting 50 amps, 30 to 50. All right. I want to thank everybody who came today and listened to our little video here. And Mike, if you want to say a few words.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what Kim just said. Thank you, everybody, for attending the Zoom meeting tonight. This will go up on the club's YouTube channel, as well as a trailer of a video we're working on how to camp in your Tesla, which may have a blooper reel. We don't know yet. There were a few jokes made in that video but made by yours truly. So I hope those make it in. Like I said before, if anybody, I hope going away from this video, the idea of road tripping or the idea of going a large distance, it doesn't seem less appealing in that you're able to kind of quantify this into real world terms, and that you're able to make those plans a reality, and hopefully a better route planner, as well as any information you received from either Kim or myself, helped you guys in that attempt.
I would also like to add that Mike and I can be reached by email if you need to get a hold of us. Mike's is mikec@tocnys.org, and mine is kimm@tocnys.org.